Hey, what's going on, folks? Forest Green here. Man, you guys really enjoyed this series. I think it's educational, so I'm going to keep going. This is part 5 of my types of Haxes, and today I'm here to talk about fate manipulation. So what is fate manipulation? Fate manipulation is a hack that allows the user to alter one's or other people's destiny in order to help benefit their goals and desires. There's different kinds of fate manipulation, so like probability, causality, changing a situation where it fits you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about those different kinds of events. So I'm going to talk about probability manipulation. The clue's in the name, but I'll give you an example of probability manipulation. So let's say, for example, rock, paper, scissors. So we all know that rock, paper, scissors, there's a 1 in 3 chance of you winning in that situation. So let's say you had fate manipulation. You could change the situation where you increase the probability of you always getting the right symbol in the situation. So let's say your opponent would drop rock or drop paper or drop scissors in like different consecutive rounds. Because of you increasing your probability, you're always going to guess right every time they do rock, paper, scissors with you. So that is an example of probability manipulation. There's other examples like increasing your chances of winning the lottery, increases your chances of a certain situation happening. This kind of rolls into like luck hacks, but I won't talk too much about luck hacks. That's something completely on its own accord. But probability does take elements of fate manipulation. But yeah, that's just an example of of fate manipulation. There's another type of it as well, which is like causality manipulation, being able to change events, change the cause and effect of something, direct, or just completely just alter it to your liking. I'll give you an example of causality manip. So let's say a person comes up to me and punches Forest Green in his face. So obviously what would happen, the cause and effect of that happening would be I take the blow, and let's say like he punches my tooth out. That's what happens when he punches me in the face. But because of my fate manipulation hacks, I'm able to alter what the effect of the punch does. So let's say he socks me right in the face. Because of my fate manipulation, I'm using my fate manipulative abilities. Instead of me taking damage and my tooth getting knocked out my mouth, this guy's whole body turns to jelly. So that is just an example of like causality manipulation. I'm literally altering and redirecting the cause and effect of something to my own desire. Or, I'll give you another example. Let's say I clap my hands. I change the effect of me clapping my hands. Me simply clapping my hands is causing freaking buildings to blow up. So that is just an example of like me altering the fate of cause and effect. And that is just an example of like how fate manipulation can roll into it. Now, I'm going to talk about how fate manipulation is kind of used in like versus debates and battles. So characters usually try to change the fate of someone, whether it be through manipulating their fate, manipulating a fight or a scenario to make it basically to edge out in their benefit. So let's say I was going to fight this dude down the street, and let's say if I didn't use fate manipulation, this guy was going to body the fuck out of me. He was going to stomp the shit out of me. And let's say I use fate manipulation, I'm going to change the event, and I'm going to change the fate of this guy. I'm going to make sure this guy is guaranteed to lose to me. I'm going to bend fate to my liking, to my will, to my benefit. And I want to beat this guy. So I'm going to change the fate so that I body this dude. That is just an example of how fate manipulation is used in combat. There's also people who can see people's future by knowing how their fate, by seeing their fate happen before them, or before it actually goes to happen. But that is just, a number of ways fate manipulation can be used. Also, that is kind of a form of precog as well, so it's a bit of a mixture if you want to argue. But yes, that's pretty much it for fate manipulation. Oh yeah, precognition is oof. I kind of spoiled it, but who cares? Precognition is the next video. But yeah, let's continue. All right, so pros and cons. So pros, there's a lot of good pros with fate manipulation. Just bending things to your whim to make sure you are guaranteed the successful winner. That is also a big fat pro. Altering people's destiny so that you come out on top is just a massive W. Making a situation or scenario play out the way you want it to play out. So that is also another pro. And of course, the obvious one is you can basically play God in a sense. Like I mentioned with the causality manip, you can just change the fate of and alter, the forms of cause and effect, and have it come out whatever way you want it to. So that's pretty much it for pros. So cons. Now, cons, it doesn't work on people with acausality. I will make a video on acausality later on down the line once I've done with the rest of the other videos. So I won't talk too much about acausality, but I will talk about a little bit of the resistances and stuff, and why fate manip does absolutely nothing against people with acausality. Now, why fate manipulation wouldn't work on someone with acausality? Because acausality is like basically where people are immune to like changes in the past or the future in terms of their own timeline, or and examples of that are like there's characters who don't exist in the future, who don't exist in the past, they only exist in the present, so they can basically shape their own destiny. There's characters who are completely unimmune to like changes in the future or the past. So say for example you went in the past or the future to kill someone, it does absolutely nothing to that person. It doesn't alter the reality of the person's present self. So that is just an example of how fate manipulation is useless against people with acausality. Another thing is fate manipulation. Obviously, there are levels. So like there's people with like fodder fate manip. So like it may work like in certain situations, but it's not always guaranteed to work. Like probability manipulation has its limits. You may not always be guaranteed to win that situation. Like, yeah, you've increased the chances of, you've reduced the odds of you losing, but there are odds still there. So there's still the possibility of you losing. Another thing is there are certain realities where its destiny is completely fixed. It is uninevitable. There's characters who have fodder like freaking fate manipulation, so they are unable to change the event of a situation or like timelines or worlds or just anything. So like there are certain destinies that are just destined to happen, and there are certain characters who are unable to just alter that fate. So that is another example of a con. And another thing I want to mention as well, there's characters who can resist fate manipulation as well, who just aren't affected by their fate being manipulated. And the last thing is fate manipulation can also be dangerous, because if you use fate manipulation, it can open like just a wormhole of uncertainty and many kinds of outcomes that you could be unaware you could be completely unaware of. So I'll give you an example. So let's say, if I didn't use my fate hacks on this dude who was going to beat me up, let's say he beats me up. Because I didn't use my fate hacks, I was able to live. I was fine. Like this dude, I didn't die. I just took a fat L and got beat up. But let's say I used my fate hacks. I changed it so that this dude gets killed and I beat this dude up. There is a realm of uncertainty now. So because I used my fate hacks, it has altered the destiny of the situation. So now there is a fate where I'm gonna die. So let's say the fate is I beat this dude up. The fate has been changed so that people are gonna come after me. His friends, his goons, his gang members. He's gonna kill me now. And because I changed that fate and I was unaware of what my fate manipulation did in order to alter the upcoming events, that is also my downfall. But yes, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's pretty much it for Fate Hacks. Forest Green, signing out. Peace.